Hello everyone, it's Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio. Today I'm sharing with you a gel printing session that I had, and I just wanted to do things like mark making and also color mixing on the plate and use different tools and use different shades of purple because I wanted to build up my stash of purple. You know, purple's my favorite color, and there is not that many different colors of purple paint that I have anyway. I have a few different ones, but if you mix different ones together and add their complementary colors or add white or black, you can mix up other colors. And I thought it would be fun to just do a piece of abstract art or something that was all purple. And my basket of purple paper didn't really have very much purple color. So I decided to just go ahead and use a couple different plates. The one on the right is the 5x7, and the one on the left is a strange one that comes. It's specifically sized for a uh, a journal, and it comes with two of them: this smaller, long, skinny one, and a bigger, long, skinny one. And I don't know the exact measurements, and I cannot remember whether it is. I think it's Diane Reevely's journals, but it could be Dina Wakely's journals. But at any rate, it comes from Ranger, and it's the smaller one. And they both fit on my acetate that I use for my 8x10. And I had some papers that I had already torn up or cut up that I took with me to class a couple weekends ago. I cut them in half, or just in case I needed papers. I didn't actually use them because paper was provided at the class. So I might have used a couple pieces, but most of all I didn't. So I figured I could use some of these up. There's rice paper, there is off-white and tan tissue paper, and then there is black text weight paper. And I also think on my desk I have a couple pieces of white text weight paper that haven't been cut down either. So you'll see me use those perhaps. So you can see me here color mixing, and basically I'm just going by eyeball as to what colors I need to mix together to make something more neutralized. If you look at a color wheel, you'll see that if it's a red violet, which would be like the red side of purple, then you would mix like a yellow green color with it to neutralize it. So those are across each other on the color wheel. If it's a blue violet, which is more of what we think of like dioxazine purple and those darker, very bluish purples, then you would mix a red orange with it to neutralize it. So I'm keeping these things in mind, and then I'm just looking at the paint because the paints aren't necessarily named those professional colors or whatever. Like I was using some of these Dina Wakley paints. They're still on my desk. I still have not put them away. And I have a fuchsia and an eggplant. Both of those seem like red violets to me. Fuchsia being like almost a pink. Then I have some other ones that are in tubes and things. I just grabbed all the paints that was within reach that I thought were purple colors. And I even have a periwinkle color, which on these prints, as you see, I haven't used it yet, but on these prints, you'll see that it kind of almost reads blue, like light blue, even though if you were to isolate that color, it looks like a light purple blue, like a light violet. So first I mixed some of I think it was, I don't know which ones I mixed with which, but this time I'm mixing with orange. The other one I mixed with green, and just messing around trying to get some more. I mean, when you mix those colors together, if you do it in the right combination, you're going to end up with brown. Any complementary colors that you mix together, you're going to end up with brown or some sort of brownish color, which a lot of people say, oh, you're making mud. Well, no, you're making a neutral. And you're neutralizing the tones of the color by putting the opposite one with it. So depending on how much you put in, of what color, you're going to get something different. And I'm using colors that are already mixed purple or some sort of purple, and then putting them together. Like that one that I just put on, that's a very deep dark purple in the blue side of purple. And I had mixed it, I think I mixed it with the yellow orange type color to make that sort of brownish purple. But when you're doing paper painting and collage, you want a lot of different varieties of color. And as far as purple goes, there's not that many different premixed paints that are purples. So that's what I was doing. Also, of course, if you mix something together and then you put some white with it, you get a lighter version of it. You get a tint. Pastel it out or whatever. This is that color I was talking about. It's periwinkle. It's like a purpley blue in a light tone, which I think it's still, this year's color is very peri, which is a periwinkle color. But on the screen, it looks, especially in comparison to all the other ones, it looks blue. So it's kind of weird. Because I have a light blue. I probably should have shown you the light blue versus the periwinkle so that you could see it is actually a purple. It's just kind of funny that it doesn't show that way. So then I decided to throw some alcohol ink. I have several different purples of alcohol ink, surprisingly. Eggplant and a periwinkle color and like a violet and a lavender. I've got quite a few different ones, so I decided to throw some of those in as well. Also, if you're doing this layering type of gel printing that I do, this is what I always do. I mean, I can do it a different way if I want to, but I like to layer all my layers of color right onto the plate and then pick them up with a light layer of something at the end. And if you are doing it that way, you can change the color of what it looks like based on what you pick it up with. Do you pick it up with white? Do you pick it up with black? Do is your last layer of paint silver? I did some silver, or you will see. I don't know what order these things are in, but I know at one point I did exactly the same thing on both sides, and then I picked them up with different colors at the end, and they looked very different. That one might be coming up still. I don't know. I also just grabbed out one of my big baskets of mark making tools. I have a couple different, like 12 by 12 cube, 12 by 12 by 12 cube baskets full of different types of mark making stuff to use with gel printing. And this time I used bubble wrap, and I used a little piece of packaging that has a lot of squares on it. That's one of my favorites. And I put a little bit of lavender paint with the white on one side, and I put just white on the other side. Although some of the lavender got in there because I used the same brayer to go across both of them. And then picking it up on black paper makes a difference. What do you get when you pick it up on black paper? So even exactly the same colors will end up looking different depending on what you lift them with and what you lift them on. So that's just some mark making ones and some alcohol ink on there with white. I put the white down first and then made marks and then put the alcohol ink, I think. I think that's what I did. I don't know. You guys are watching. You tell me. I was just having fun. I was, just trying to mess around with different stuff. So this time I mixed that lavender paint, which I think is a light red violet with some yellow green, and I was messing around with making marks instead of using a brayer, making more like painterly marks as you apply the paint with silicone. You don't probably want to use a palette knife on your plate. There would be a possibility that you could poke or scratch your plate or cut it somehow with a metal palette knife. But if you have a silicone one, there's not much likelihood that you're going to damage the plate. So if you do want to try applying paint in that way, and I want to play with it some more because I think it's fun, it gives a very different effect to what you end up with at the end. But use a silicone tool like a catalyst tool or something like that. Or a spatula. If you can find a flat spatula at the dollar store or something that has a flat end, you could do that. That was a homemade stamp made out of some packaging material cut in a spiral. I'm very fond of spirals, as you will see as we go through. When I make a mark making thing, it's often a spiral shape because that's just what I like. And this time I'm using a red violet with a darker green, so I think that's eggplant and evergreen colors. Just trying to mix some different types of purples that come out as different tones so that when I use them together as a monochromatic piece of collage of some sort, I'm not sure what, I will end up with a lot of different tones of purple. A couple of these, I didn't mix the two colors well together, and I ended up with like a smear of the opposing color right in there within the print, which actually looked kind of cool. So I'm not fussy. This time I was using some little homemade stamps made out of fun foam, just little spirals and dots. And then I add alcohol ink here and there, you know, just splat some on there for fun. Why not? I pretty much always use alcohol ink in combination of acrylic paint because I'm not sure that you can pick it up very well without that layer of acrylic paint that kind of sticks everything together as a plastic layer, you know. So I know you guys like to watch gel printing, and I'm giving you what you want. And I do have this stack of purple paper now that I can make something with, and that'll probably show up sometime in the future, probably not very long from now. I'm still getting that painterly look of paint application because some of it that I applied with the silicone tool was still on the plate. It didn't all come off, so looks kind of like chips. See, there's still even some on there because it dried down good. So this time I'm mixing red and blue because we all learned in kindergarten if you mix red and blue, you get purple, right? Yeah, well, that was ruby red, and I think it's called marine blue from the Dina Wakley line. And then I ended up adding a little bit of red orange to it because it just didn't look like purple at all. So it doesn't always work that you mix red and blue together and you get purple. Sometimes you get And then this thing that I'm mark making with is a piece of styrofoam that I have made marks into it with a ball tool, a stylus. I have a few of those. I like to make those styrofoam plates. It makes me happy. I actually made a few in class recently and I didn't get those out. I don't think they're in the right basket. I probably just threw them on top of a basket and it might be in the other one because I only grabbed one of the gel printing mark making tools baskets. This time I put silver on to pick it up, some metallic silver paint. And then using black on one side and tan tissue paper and also white rice paper just to pick them up to see what it looks like depending on what kind of paper you pick it up with. Looks cool on the black, especially with that just a little bit of shimmer of metallic. And then I end up cleaning up the plate by basically picking up all the rest of the stuff off the plate, including the silvery bits, with black paint. And I end up getting a very dark with bits on it paper, which is pretty cool. Silvery purpley bits. I got my Baron out there and I'm trying to make sure I get everything picked up from it. That time the paper tore. Rice paper sometimes sticks and tears, but You get the idea. That one looks a little bit like lace. The one on the left. Now, I guess I'm going with white to start out with. And I'm probably going to put some alcohol ink on it, is my guess. Oh yeah, this one, okay. Same stencil going all the way across because it's a 9 by 12. So I can use it. I put on the same colors of alcohol inks on both sides. Like a light, a medium, and a dark. And even a little bit of light again. Smushed them around a bit with the brayer. And then I picked up these two prints with different colors. So that's that periwinkle, which looks freaking light blue on the screen. It's periwinkle, I promise it is. I think it's called light blue violet, I think is what it is. But that's periwinkle. Light blue violet is periwinkle. So then on this side, I picked it up with some Titan Buff paint. And the two prints end up looking very different. This one I put on the tan tissue paper. The other one I put on white rice paper. It looks very blue, very wintry and cool. And this one on the right-hand side looks completely different. Even though it's the same stencil, the same ink. So yeah, kind of fun experimentation here. I love that stencil. That's one of my very favorites. It's a Stencil Girl stencil. Just love it. It's primitive looking. So then back to some, I think the bottom is eggplant and the top is one of the tube paints. That's a really good color purple, whatever purple that is. Of all the purples, that's my favorite color of it, you know, just standalone paint. And that one's from Amsterdam, I think. I don't know. It's like a royal blue violet type of color. It's just a nice color. And on one side, I did use one of my styrofoam printing plates, and on the other side, I used a piece of textured wallpaper. You know, the kind that has the vinyl-y texture on it. And then I used some metallic paint on the right one, which is PBO metallic, Dyna metallic paint to pick it up. I'm also using up these scrap papers that I have on my desk. I've been using them in between pages when I'm doing journaling, so they've got lines and stuff on them. And then some of them, most of them have printing on one side because they're prints of challenges and things. And I like to use up all the paper. I don't want to waste it. So I gel print it over it and, you know, make it so that it can be usable in some other application. Guess I'm going with some more alcohol ink, having some more fun with alcohol ink. I like alcohol ink. It stains my hands a little bit, but that's okay. And then that was a corrugated cardboard piece of something. And this is packaging that some little things came in. That's like the bubbles that something came in. I don't know what. Probably little buttons or I don't know, some little thing. And I just kept the top part of the packaging, the plastic. And it's fun for mark making. And then just some lavender and white over the top. Picking up with white and black paper. So I hope you guys are enjoying this gel printing session, and it's all about the purple. So if you hate purple, you're probably not enjoying it. But you could do something like this with a different color and, you know, mix different tones of green or something. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. To look at my baskets and see what I'm kind of missing. I'm not sure. So then I was done, and then I realized I had one more piece of paper here, and it looked very lavender on one side, so I figured I would just add some print to it using another one of my little foam stamps. And, um, you know, because I might as well just use it. It was the last one in the pile. And then there was just a tiny bit left, so I picked it up with some transparent white, trying to get something, and it ended up looking pink. So I hope you liked this. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment or question below, subscribe if you haven't already, join my channel membership if you haven't already, and that's it for me. Thanks. Bye-bye.